Topic is our new business intelligence system called Hcss Intelligence. I get to do this one because I've been babysitting this all the way through for the last 2 years. We're really excited about this project. We think that it is time for construction to start really aggressively using data better to better manage their operations. And so we're building this architecture to hopefully help you better use your data. Business intelligence and data warehousing are kind of lingo, technical lingo that may be unfamiliar to some of you guys. And I don't want this to sound too Silicon Valley-y or anything. It's not. When you hear the word business intelligence, all I want you to think is reports. But sometimes it's visualizations, because a line graph or a chart can help you. Sometimes it's the detail behind those, the grid data that you need to see. But it's getting the right visuals of your data in front of the right people in your organization. Data warehousing, what I want you to think, is that big database in the cloud. The most important thing is just we're pulling all the data together into a single database. So fancy technical terms, but that's all it really means. And we're trying to make it really easy for you to get access to these technologies that in financial services and manufacturing are very mature. And some of these industries have been using these technologies for over 70 years. But the construction industry is just on the forefront of starting to adopt these. And we're really excited about being part of that. So you may be asking yourself, why do I care about this? Why do I need a business intelligence system? And there's a whole bunch of reasons, but 3 of the key ones we hear all the time are, 1, we need to move more away from the domain of intuition-based decision-making and move towards data-driven and fact-based decision-making. And the only way you can do that is if you have actual data that tells you the truth about what's going on in your organization. We want to be able to handle problems as soon as possible. The earlier you know about an issue, the better probability you have of being able to address it and come up with a solution that will keep it from becoming something serious. And we want to constantly be driving performance and upping our game all the time. So a BI solution, a business intelligence solution, does that by bringing all the data in one place in near real time so you can see what's going on. It gives you fast access to that information, and it lets us target those key things that you want to be measuring so that you can always be on top of how your business is performing. So when we say the word data, what do we mean? Well, you guys are all heavy investors in technology. That's why you're here. You're buying software and you're using it. You have accounting systems, you have planning systems, you have all the HCSS systems. You probably have 100 spreadsheets throughout your organization, maybe more, that are buried away on people's desktops and servers and stuff. The problem is all of those systems have their own data sequestered away in a database or in a file that's not that you can report on within that system, but it's hard to see across the systems. And so what that leads to is what we call the never-ending data grind. And this is that process where the CFO comes to you or the VP of operations and says, hey, I need this report, I need to know what's going on in this job. And some poor soul has to go and pull an export out of the accounting system or pull something out of one of the other systems or a spreadsheet and merge it all together and run pivot tables and get all that data pulled out just to have a point in time of that report that he's going to be asked for again next week, and he's going to have to go through the never-ending data grind again. So because of that, a lot of companies have tried to automate those processes. We call these data projects. The sad news about this is 60% of data projects fail. That's depressing because you're going to go spend a lot of money trying to build some stuff to make this work and just to have it rot away on a shelf somewhere. And that's why we built Hcss Intelligence. The promise of Hcss Intelligence is we are able to constantly stream data from any of your systems, not just HCSS systems, your accounting systems, spreadsheets, P6, any system that you have. Process it, get it into formats that's easy to report on, and then create the visualizations for anybody in your organization. We're also building this system for heavy civil. So From day one, when you open up the system, we want you to see reports that are about heavy civil construction. We already have over 30 in there today. That's growing every week. By the end of the year, I'd like to see well over 100 meaningful and useful reports in the system that you can then easily modify to your specific needs. I want to give you a couple of examples of some of the stuff we've already built. And this is really not to be an exhaustive list of things we've done, but to help you understand the breadth of possibilities of what you can do once you have a warehouse and a BI system. This one's fun. We can look at the work that we're doing and the safety toolbox talks that the foremen are doing and see if they're aligned. And if they're not, that gives the safety pros an ability to coach the foreman. So here's a great example of two Hcss systems looking across those to do some analysis. This next one's cool. This is about pulling data out of the accounting system and getting it out on the iPad for the foreman for when a subcontractor comes up and asks, hey, I haven't been paid on this invoice, and he can drill all the way down really quickly, look at that specific invoice and say, well, yeah, that $778 is on retainage. You get paid when I get paid. This next one's cool. This is about showing a combination of heavy job and accounting data that we did for a customer. It's called the work in progress report. Something specific to how they like to run their business, but we've learned is everybody kind of does this. And we need to be able to show that data combined together, and then if we see an anomaly, drill in, see what's going on under the covers. This next one's kind of cool. Once you have a warehouse, you can start taking snapshots of data through time. So in this case, we can see the forecasting every time we do a forecast and then look at those trends. So if I just saw just a point in time, hey, my margins are 15%, okay, that's no big deal. But when I see that downward trend, that changes the story, and that's why the visualization is so powerful. The last one, and I know there's a lot of estimators in the room, I don't want to leave you guys out. We are working on pulling estimation data up into the cloud. There's so many things we're going to be able to do with this. First of all, we can do analysis between build versus bid and start to tighten up the process between operations and estimation. We can look at status reports across all of the estimates that are going on, see high-level executive summaries, see visualizations about where the costs are going. Really, it's up to your imagination how deep we can go with some of this stuff. And we're not sitting on our laurels. We'd love to get over 30 new customers using the system this year. We're building out this robust library of reports, trying to make it as easy and valuable to start on day one. And we're going to be continuing to add more and more out-of-the-box accounting interfaces. So when we talk about how much does this cost, a lot of you are new to this space. Some of you have already spent a lot of money, like, yeah, it's really hard and expensive. Just 2 Power BI licenses, pro licenses, can cost north of $50,000, and that's before you've even spent any money on development or hosting or any of that. If you add all of this up and you knew exactly what you're doing and you didn't make any mistakes, you're going to be lucky to get to your first report inside of weeks or months, and you can spend $50,000 to $100,000 getting there. The promise of business intelligence, Hcss Intelligence, is we include all the technology that you need to run this. It's completely bundled together. And to make it go one step further is we're bundling in the professional services. Experts that know heavy civil construction that can come into your organization and immediately provide value. And we want the normal company out there to be spending about $10,000 a year on the technology. Bigger companies will have to spend a little bit more, but that's how disruptive we want to be with it and aggressive we want to be with this, because we want every company in the industry getting the value from a solution like this. So if you look at your chairs, there's a card there, and this is our UGM Early Adopter Special. What we want to do is get as many of you guys going on this as possible. So for $3,000, we're going to give you, for 3 months, we're going to give you unlimited use of the system, all the out-of-the-box reports that we already have, and 15 hours of expert services to get some specific things built for you guys. This will give you an opportunity for a low-risk, low-cost way to kick the tires and find out if this is going to work for you. So definitely want to get you in on that. If you're interested, go out to the one-on-one area. We'll get you hooked up with the guys that can get you in the program. Or talk to your salesperson. We also have 2 more classes, one today at 2:15, one tomorrow at 11 a.m. that we're going to be talking in much more detail about this. Also, this is a lot to cover, a lot to consume. I have a class this afternoon at 1:15. It's an open-ended Q&A, really the Q&A for this presentation. So if you've got a ton of questions and stuff, please come to that class, and we'd love to field any questions that you have. So we covered a ton of content today. We covered HCSS submittals, plans, trucking, our employee app, and our new business intelligence system. I hope you guys are as excited as we are about the innovation that's going on at HCSS.